Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Gerald Brits, aka My Two Cents on It, and that is the name of my show. Everybody getting 2 cents on things, so I said, why can't I, give my 2 cents on things? And I'm here tonight giving my 2 cents on the NBA. With the playing tournament starting, for to go on the playoffs. This is the money round. This is the time where the players actually give a damn. We're gonna be playing 100%, no more lower management. This is the time to win or go home, put up or shut up. And we'll talk about that today with my two guests. First, I was on his show in December, First Formation Sports Talk Show. He's a very good host. I thank you for being heavy on my show. I thank you for coming on my show. Trade the Truth. Sir, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How's everyone out there? Glad to be on the show. Appreciate you having me.
Thank you for coming on.
Yes.
And my second guest, he is one of my two mentors as a radio legend. He's been doing this forever today, and I thank you for taking the time to give me the advice. Mr. Chris Bass. Sir, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much. Thank you, Gerald, for having me on the program. And I'm very honored to be one of your mentors because some people who were some of my students and ran to the border, but you have not. So thank you for hanging in there. And I'm very proud of you, man, and what you're doing.
Thank you. Of course not, man. I was gonna appreciate where I came from and who taught me what, I need to know. All right, fellas, before we get to the topics of things, a little brief NBA news. Yesterday, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver suspended Toronto Raptors forward Jonte Porter for life for gambling on NBA games. So Porter, is now known as the younger brother of Denver Nuggets superstar Michael Porter Jr. But the NBA started looking into him for gambling things he was doing, and they found out that he was betting on NBA games. And one game he was in, he took himself out after 3 minutes and also giving up confidential information to a known bettor. So I will say this: I have zero sympathy for Mr. Porter because not only his actions caused the lifetime ban, as I said, he is the brother of Michael Porter Jr., so he'll be okay either way. And yesterday was release of the 2024 Olympic men's team roster, and it'll be coached by Steve Kerr. And the roster is as follows: Devin Booker, Stephen Curry, Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton, Drew Holiday, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, Jason Tatum, Anthony Davis, Bam Adebayo, and Joel Embiid. I do believe this roster will win the gold like every other team except for the except for the 2004 Olympics. So it shall be another gold for USA. I shall believe. Also, as well, Blake Griffin announced his retirement this week. He was a six-time All-Star, three-time second-team All-NBA, two-time third-team All-NBA, NBA Rookie of the Year in 2011, NCAA College Player of the Year 2009. He averaged 19 points a game, 8 rebounds a game, 4 assists per game. Let me ask you two: do you think that Blake Griffin is a uh, pro basketball Hall of Famer?
Trey, I'll yield to you first. I'll go after you.
So, if this was football, yes, Blake Griffin is a shoe in. I don't know if he's going to be if he's a shoe in Hall of Famer from the basketball standpoint. When you take in consideration with basketball is a whole conglomerate, is like ball, just round ball players from college, international, and all that type of stuff. It might be a little bit harder for Blake Griffin to get in. I think at some point he gets in. We're talking about 5 years from now. It might depend on who's eligible at the time. He might be able to walk in, but just right now, I don't think he's a shoe in. But for the most part, he probably gets in at some point.
Yeah, that's kind of tough. I mean, I like Blake, but you can't be known for just jumping over a Kia. No offense, and it gets to a point where that's going to be what you're known for. Yeah, he was dominant with some dunks here and there, made ESPN highlight reel stuff like that. But when I think about players, or players I admire, I don't think about a Blake Griffin. So I think that he will not make the Hall of Fame. Even down the road, I don't think he'll make it. If he does, there's been some serious campaigning from some higher ups to get him in there. He's a very good role player as the years started to wane down. You saw from his days at being a Clipper, but I don't see him getting to the Hall of Fame at all.
I do see Blake Griffin making it because they just recently inducted Michael Cooper, and a lot of people say that Michael Cooper, is borderline, maybe knows a lot of people. So since he got in, I do believe Blake will get in. Cooper's a very good defensive player, but the man averaged 8 points per game. So if he can make it on his defense, I believe that Blake can make it on his offense eventually. Maybe not be first ballot, but I do believe Blake will be in the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame sometime in his lifetime. I do believe.
I don't know. I like, as far as Cooper's concerned, that's a whole different area you're talking about. Michael Cooper was the catalyst for the run and gun. Man, please, with the Lakers, we talk about Kareem and Magic, of course, and people like that. I mean, he was the catalyst for that defense. We always tell you, defense always win games. He was that guy. So you look at his defensive powers were just dynamic. And a lot of people start to copy some of the defensive strategies to match the Lakers during that time. So anytime other players or other coaches in particular have to change their X's and O's because of certain players, that means you're changing the game as you go along. So I don't know. I would vote in a second for Michael Cooper in the second before I even get a chance to go near Blake Griffin. No offense, but I'm going with Cooper.
And I think what some of it also comes out, like you said, I think Blake Griffin's grace is going to be he's better than the other people who are going to be the lower tiers when you come to it. So I think that's how he gets in. When we start looking at like, okay, Jamal Crawford, after Jamal Crawford, so these people they get voted in, then it's going to be like, we got to vote someone in, and it's going to be like Blake Griffin he's going to have that marquee, he's going to be the marquee name of that class at that time, or whenever he gets in, it's going to be because he's a marquee name. It's like, okay, he has some prowess, he has some accolades. Let's go ahead and get him in. I think that's the only way he gets in. But besides that, I would give it to Chris. Like Blake Griffin doesn't jump out the page to me as Hall of Famer, and so
yeah. It just, to me, it just seems like they just put everybody in. So it seems like to me, eventually, Blake will get in.
Well, as Scooby-Doo once said, Ross Ruck.
Yes, this week was the playing tournament. We all know why they doing it for the money, but so Tuesday, the West had these two playing games. In the first game, the Lakers beat the Pelicans. In the second game, the Warriors beat the Kings. So let's get to that second game. The Warriors beat the Kings, so the Warriors season is over with. So let's talk about them since their season is over with. What do you think the Warriors should do? Should they let go of Klay Thompson, bring him back? Should they what should they do? Period.
So I would speak. Usually, I speak from my unbiased mind. And this particular time, I think I'm still doing that for the simple fact of I always have said I would like to have Klay Thompson in a Los Angeles Lakers uniform. But that was the time in which Klay Thompson was presumably the second best shooter that the world had to offer. I don't know if I think if you could get Klay Thompson in a predominantly offensive set shooter role, like how Ray Allen did late in his career, where he was just known as that sniper. I think that could still work for in that fact. But of course, they said there's a lot of people in state to answer the question. I think Klay Thompson's time in Golden State is done unless Klay Thompson decides I don't want to go anywhere else. I'd rather stay here. But if it's left up to anything else, I think Klay Thompson's out the door. and Golden State's not going to fight for him unless it's a real good hometown good discount.
The Warriors have to part company with Draymond Green. They have to. It's just no other way. And I think over the years they become enablers to what Draymond is doing and what Draymond has done. And so when, for example, you have that bad ass kid that's running around the block beating up people, and then you go to the mother's house, Junior's out here putting people in headlocks. Oh, well, that's my baby. No, your baby's putting people in headlocks. So you have to acknowledge the obvious. And Draymond Green obviously needs help. It's not the fact that he's not a good player. He's a fantastic player. He's helped them get the chips and everything else. But down the road, he has done some incredible stuff that should not even be in the league. I mean, the whole stomping on people's chests and kicking people in the private parts and doing some worldly dervish and knocking somebody out and turn around and play around that he was the one that got fouled. And he didn't learn his lesson, because when he was banned for that brief time, was very brief, with like 8-some games or whatever, it was very. But see, what should have been happening, the Warriors should have tacked on some more games after NBA Commissioner Adam Silver gave him that. See, I think that would have hurt more coming from the team more so than the commissioner. And Mayweather got the message. As some people say, he should have been out for the whole season. So I think it gets to a point where when I look at some of the film back and you watch Steve Kerr just shake his head and go like that, but you don't do anything to stop this man. You don't say anything. If you said anything, he's ignoring the hell out of you. So what kind of authority do you have? Are you enabling, or are you trying to get this man help? So the first thing, I was a part of the Warriors organization, is like, look, it's been nice. I love you more, but it's time for us to part. That's the first thing I do.
Yeah, that makes sense. To me, I think the Warriors are too sentimental. That's the reason why Bob Myers, the former GM, is now working for ESPN instead of being the GM, because he knew that this core was coming to was getting old, and he knew the change was needed, and he didn't want to be the one to do it. So that's why he's down at ESPN. Now, if I ran the Warriors, what would I do? The first thing I do is get rid of Andrew Wiggins. Last year he went through something. You're not telling what it is. That's the business. That's fine. But he's going through something that's affecting his game. He needs to go. Chris Paul, I would let Chris Paul go. I would, just have. I would build around Steph Curry. Now, Draymond, I see your point, Chris, on why I should go to Draymond, but Draymond is their emotional leader and he is their defensive anchor. So that's why he and Steph are most important to keep. Now, Klay, I would give Klay a price. If Klay didn't want to accept it, I would let him go. If Klay would accept it, I'd bring him back. He would be my sixth man. They need to get younger, and they need to get more shooters over there too, because Steph Curry is tired, because Steph is, I believe, 35, so he's scared too big of a load, so he needs more talent around him to help out. That's what I would do.
So when you look at it, it's not many times that you see the dynasties in which Golden State is considered a dynasty be able to enacting and continue to have the Cinderella-esque stories. And now we just see now at this point that Golden State is becoming susceptible to that as well. Like Chris was just saying, Draymond is probably have done things in which he's probably not going to be able to go anywhere else to do. Not saying, I mean, his skill is his skill, right? And so that has afforded him the opportunity to act the way he does in Golden State because of the chemistry. But you're going somewhere else to where that chemistry isn't built. And so those antics are probably not going to be put up with or are not going to go over the same way, unfortunately. So now it's like he has to rely on other things. Like we just talked about early, Klay Thompson is going to be that. Unless his shooting comes up, we know he's not that defensive stalwart two-way player that he was, 3 or 4 years ago. But shooting is a premium, and as long as he can get that back on track, then he's going to be someone that's going to be sought after by someone. Someone's going to pay him if Golden State doesn't. As far as Steph goes, like you said, he's getting older, and is about that time. So they're definitely going to go into a rebuild. I don't know if the rebuild is going to be the type of rebuild where you build around Steph. But I mean, there's not too many teams that you see that's able to do that. I mean, teams like Los Angeles and things like that, where they continue to produce people that could come in. And so those are like
which team?
the
Because it's
Boston
two
Celtics.
teams. I'm sorry, Trey. It's
Yeah,
two teams. LA. You said LA.
the
Lakers, the Clippers.
Lakers. Like, well,
Okay.
everyone knows we talk about the Lakers. No one,
Not really.
ain't no one. It's like ain't no one came to see the Clippers. Otis, like that's not what we worry about. But I get you. You're right. The Lakers, the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah, I can see that too. I think that's a great analogy, Trey, because not only going to the Lakers, you know, if you're Thompson, your dad Michael played for the Lakers as well. So now you got that legacy with the same team. So I think from a legacy perspective, not only do you stay in the league, but I'm going to the team I grew up watching my dad with the Lakers. I think that would be epic.
Yeah, you know, it seems like a lot of guys don't really want to help LeBron. It's whatever it is, they want to go against him rather than help him. So I don't see that happening because it's the rumor that Orlando is going after him, which they need over there offensive shooting. So he would help out with that. So more than likely, Orlando is going to offer him a line of money. It's up to Clay whether he's going to turn that down or stay with Golden State.
Well, I'll tell you, you talk about the Lakers. I'm not a big LeBron fan, but I don't believe in cutting down people all the time. When I was watching him play, for example, when he was playing the Pelicans, he's 39 years old, got that old man strength. You gotta give credit where credit was due. He was, giving the business, and there you go. The only thing I like about LeBron is the whining and the flopping. Dude, you 6'8" and 265, man. You'll get your calls. You don't have to sit up there and whine all the damn time, and every time something don't go your way, you got your arms out and everything else. I mean, the theatrics get on my nerve with him. So outside of that, he does what needs to be done. But sometimes in clutch moments, he does grow very small, and he can't finish the deal sometimes. You saw the last year's playoffs. Get the ball the last minute and everything. He can't close the deal. So I don't know that old man coming back to him or things of that nature. But when it comes to him, yes, but when you look at other things that he does, can be suspect to question. The one person that I really felt bad for in that Pelicans game was Zion Williamson. Zion was giving them the business, man. I mean, he got the weight down. He looked great. He felt great. It was like, 40 points and some 11 rebounds? He was doing it. And when he got the injury, it broke my heart because, again, that hamstring is no joke, like any injury you get to a player. But, man, the frustration, the body language that he had come off the court, I feel for the young brother, man, because he really should be a top-tier player, but he's injury-prone and he eats too much. But just the fact that he was giving the Lakers the business that night, man, shows you still potential what a Zion Williamson can do. I was very impressed.
Well, I say to his credit, Zion did lose 25 pounds during the start of the season and now because he heard on the talk, they were talking about him, how he could eat the whole table. So he heard the talk. So he finally slimmed down. So let's talk about the Pelicans when they played the Kings tomorrow night in that playing game in New Orleans, 8:30 on TNT. Who do you both have winning that game?
Unfortunately, I think it's going to be Sacramento. It is like Chris was just saying, the loss of Zion Williamson is going to be immense. I won't even hold you. Honestly, we might be having a different conversation here in reference to the Los Angeles Lakers if Zion had been able to continue to play in that game. So those three minutes might have went a little differently. I would like to have seen the Pelicans in there to play a role of spoiler. But I don't think Sacramento or Sabonis or Fox or Keegan or any of them are going to allow that to happen. So I think we get to see the Kings versus OKC for the first round.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the Kings too. I mean, every time we look at the Kings over time, it's like they're the Achilles heel of a team you got to get over. And to me, the Achilles heel for them were the Golden State Warriors. And I think once they had the Warriors number and they were giving them the business and showing them that, look, but see, that's where youth came into play. You see before early in the conversation about the Golden State Warriors, though the franchise was going old, you had youth and still have youth for the Kings. They were able to do things that they couldn't do. You got some of the older players ball watching. There's certain passing things like that. So you can't escape Father Time, no matter how many times you try. You can have a great body and look out and don't eat salty foods and stay away from the fat and everything else. But sometimes when the brain tells you to go left or you go right, that's Father Time, and you can't escape it. You just had to find a way to play within your strengths. And so going back to the Kings, they have youth on their side, and their youth is really showing forward as we see them dominate these games.
I agree as well. I believe the Kings will also beat the Pelicans, and I'm also going to give a shout out to Mike Brown, who is finally getting the recognition that he deserves because for years coaching the Cavs, everybody said he was on LeBron's bandwagon, and then he went to the Lakers and flamed out. They said that he was the good coach, and now he gets to the Kings. He gets to the playoffs the first time in about 16 years. He finally wins Coach of the Year, and he's finally proven that he is a good coach. So shout out to him, and the Kings will beat the Pelicans tomorrow night. So let's talk about the Pelicans since we assume this season's going to be tomorrow. What should the Pelicans do for change?
I think at this point they have to take a look at what they're going to do with Brandon Ingram. So the Brandon Ingram that we had that left from Los Angeles and was a hot stepper in New Orleans before pre Zion Williamson hasn't been the Brandon Ingram since Zion has gotten there, which he's starting to become a little more injury prone. But we don't want to sit up and say that a player is less than because of the injuries, but we're not seeing what the greatness that we thought we would have seen with Brandon Ingram. Like, I thought there was going to be a reenactment of what AD and DeMarcus Cousins was when they was working in New Orleans, and that hasn't come to fruition for Ingram and Zion. It's like only one of them is starting to develop and become that player. Now Zion can't stay healthy, but when he's healthy, they're a 4th seed team in the West. That's saying something. So I think that's where you have to look at it. They got McCollum, so it's just a matter of now putting it together. Maybe it's time for Brandon Ingram to be moved.
Yeah, I agree with Zion Williamson and CJ McCollum. I think you just have to rebuild all over again. You keep those two pieces, obviously, those are your main cogs, but everybody else has to be interchangeable. You're right, going back to Brandon Ingram has been, at times, can be lights out. I mean, he can shoot from anywhere, and he's unguardable, but we haven't seen that. And so, again, you get to a point where is the future for this player? So I agree, he probably go somewhere else, but you got to rebuild. And I know a lot of people use rebuild. The Chicago Bulls been rebuilding since I can remember. So everybody wants to rebuild. But in this situation, the word is true for that organization. It's a great organization from what I've been told. I think you're able to be a force out there in the West and definitely make it do what they do. But again, just have to take out that off season. The general manager, I've got to do his job and have the people around to do some research and build a whole new team.
Yeah, I agree. I like the Pelicans. I like, of course, Zion and CJ. They also got Trey Murphy, who can hit a lot of trades for him. Jose Alvarado, who was just on the bench, just a straight up spark plug. So they got some pieces over there. I like. Willie Green is doing a good job with them. So yeah, Brandon Ingram, if he since he's too inconsistent, he probably could be moved for another piece. I think the Pelicans could be back to the top of the West. Now, Zion, if he keeps on being injury prone and his weight goes up and down, do you stick with him or eventually let him go?
I think they're going to continue to stick with him. I mean, he's paid admission. It's still a business. So for the most part, if he can bring them in, if he can bring in and fill the seats, then they're going to continue to hold him as long as they can until they realize that there's his paycheck is no longer worth what the city needs. So at this point, I think we see Zion. He's going to be in New Orleans a little bit longer.
Yeah, I agree. It goes back to what Charles Barkley said when he got to the Sixers, and that Moses Malone took him under his wing and said, "Man, your gas is too fat, and you need to start losing weight." And He took him under his wing and started to lose about 15 pounds. It made a difference in his game. And it's kind of similar to Zion. And I don't know who's around there to be a Moses Malone type figure or figures. Just sometimes you need inspiration from other people, not just yourself. It could be family, friends, or whoever. So I think if he gets that mindset to keep him on track, to let him know what the eyes on the prize really is to be a great player and get a chip one day, you need the motivation and not food. If you're able to get the right people around you, then I think he would obviously keep the weight off and be a certain mindset to continue to win games.
Yeah, that's a good point. I will say, I think at his best, Zion is a top 10, top 15 player, and they are few and far between in the league, as I see watching the Bulls. So, yeah, you're right. I'll stick with him. Hopefully, he figures it out. So, yesterday, the East had their 2 playing games. It was close the first game. The 76ers got past the Heat 105-104. Then the second game, the Bulls just straight up smoked the Hawks to send them packing. Let's talk about the Hawks. I think, get blown out by the Bulls should signal that the Trae Young, DeJounte Murray combo is not a good fit. If you ran the Hawks, which the 2 would you trade?
So I think we realized that a year and a half ago, after the first half of the season, after they were paired together, it just seems like it's more that they needed in state, and it's unfortunate. We take in consideration Trae Young has an injury, which is one of his first major injuries of his career or ever having, to which kind of like set him back a little bit. So it's probably not to necessarily put it all on that, but it's definitely one of those situations where the Hawks need to take a look at their organization. I'm going to look at their team and make some moves, as they have not made the best of moves in the last couple of years.
The only reason why Chicago Bulls coach Billy Donovan has a job is because of the play-in. I am not a fan of Billy Donovan. I'm sorry. He's a glorified college coach in a professional arena. And he sometimes can't coach his way off a paper bag. Now, did the Bulls have lights out against the Hawks? Of course. 131 to 116 was a very good game. Kobe White was shooting lights out, and everybody was having a good game. As my dad used to say, the sun shut on the dogs behind every now and again. So that's what happened, I think, with the Bulls. So had it not been for the play-in, someone like Billy Donovan, I think, is not the right person that was taken to the promised land. Because I think, like anything else, you had all these horrible seasons, and all of a sudden you get the play-in, that saves your job. So I think the only reason why he's still allowed to coach. It should be against the law where I come from. But anyway, the Bulls have moved forward. I don't think they'll do well in their next go out against the Heat, even though the Heat does not have Jimmy Buckets right now because Jimmy Butler's out with his injury. But still, they'll give a good fight. But I don't think the Bulls will finish between them and the Heat. I think the Heat will still have too many weapons for them.
Well, you know what? So let me break it down. So I will say this right here. I think with the Bulls, their problem is not with the coach. Their problem is the organization. The Bulls have not made a trade since August 2021. It's been almost 4 years since the Bulls have made an official trade. This is a franchise that is still waiting on Lonzo Ball to come back. So that's not on Billy Donovan. That is on Mark Evans, the GM, and the president of basketball operations. I can't pronounce his name, the Greek guy. Those two are the ones that's holding the franchise back. Billy Donovan is doing what he can with his roster. I'm sorry. He's doing what he can with his roster. When your best player is DeMar DeRozan, I like DeMar, but if he's your best player, you're not really going nowhere. You proved that 5 years ago, with Toronto traded him out for Kawhi Leonard when they fighting with a championship without him. So it's all those two. Now I will say this: I think that now with the Hawks, I think they should trade Trae Young, set him somewhere better, and just build around DeJounte Murray. That's what I would do.
So with the DeMar DeRozan thing, of course, I gotta speak up for DeMar DeRozan, represent Hub City, Compton kid, saying my homeboy. It's one of those things where I think the onset was you had DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine. Of course, you got Vucevic, and then you have the other role, and then you have a bunch of role players, in which the match of the pairing of DeMar and Zach wasn't the best of things. You got two people in which but you see, although it has been consistent, Chicago has been a consistent playing team. But at one point, it was a struggle. Now you have it to where it's clear and decisive who that de facto player is, and now there's an opportunity. I actually think Chicago's going to knock off the Hawks. I mean, it's going to knock off the 76ers. I mean, correction, going to knock off the Heat without Jimmy Buckets. I think it's going to be, even though I love Jaquez, who I'm very sure we're going to get to and talk to in a second, but I think Chicago is going to knock off. It's definitely going to knock off the Heat without Jimmy Butler. And then we'll see. And now I might get a little testy with them versus the Celtics, but I think they got a good chance.
Yeah, it's a lot of people to blame going back to what you said about the organization. It's the organization, and I think it trickles down to the coach. Again, who hired Billy Donovan? The organization. So again, there's a lot of people to blame in that situation. But for them in the advancement, I think, again, the game between them and the Heat will be a good one. And again, I think that they would put up a good fight. I think it could be some trading of points, some defensive stops, obviously. But I do believe overall it will be the Heat minus Butler, only because of the fact that you have other players that have stepped up in time, not to the point of Jimmy Butler, mind you, but enough just to get by. So when you have the role players doing their thing, they're doing a good by. As you know, all this is tier. So say they can beat, meaning the Heat, and going to the Bulls, and they're going to another team that you see where the tier has changed, where because you can beat one team because of their weaknesses and find somebody else team-wide for their strengths. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic to go from to see these teams battle it out, of course, to advance. But I don't think the Bulls have what it takes to beat the Heat. I think the Heat may surprise you and win without buckets.
I'll say this right here. Without Jimmy Butler, the Heat are done. And also as well, who would I rather see the Celtics sweep? I like the Heat as a team, organization, the coach as a culture. I got too much respect for the organization to see them get swept by Boston. I'd rather see the Bulls get swept by Boston. So that way, Chris can prove your point to be Donovan K. coach that the Bulls need change. The world will see the Bulls need change if they play Boston. Boston would 4 games in a row, smack them around, send them on their way. That's what I'd rather see, because I know after that, the Bulls had a choice but to change. That's what that's what I'd rather see. I'd rather see the Bulls just get decimated 4 games in a row. The Heat are too good to be swept by the Celtics.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to seeing these games because again, it is a test of the will and the skill in these situations. So, and you're right, some of your best ball, of course, come out in the playoffs, and you see little dribs and drabs throughout the regular season. But this time, take on a whole new personality.
Okay, so I guess it's that time we can make our predictions for the first round since we've done that so far. So let's start with the West. So we got the number 1 seed OKC Thunder, and we say they're gonna be playing the Kings. Who do you have winning that series?
This is going to be the Thunder series. I think SGA or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has shown that he was a star to begin with. The Clippers probably shouldn't have got rid of him. So when you look at it, the Kings aren't going to, although they're both young teams, I think the OKC is just a younger, better team, and they're going to impose their will. So they make it through this round, I believe.
So you have the
4-2.
Thunder in 4-2. Okay, Chris.
I think the Kings. I think it's their time, and it's not disrespecting OKC, but I think the Kings just got a little bit more edge, what I can see, and I think it's really their time to come out and show that they can really run the table. So I'm gonna go with the Kings on this one.
I'm gonna go with the Thunder at 7. It's gonna be a very good series. I know the Kings have some injuries right now with Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter out. Hopefully they'll be back. So if they come back in the series, they go to quench the Thunder. But the Thunder are here to chatter that they are one of the weakest number 1 seeds in recent memory. So they're gonna be coming out motivated to play the Kings every game. And SGA is going to prove that he is a top 10 player. And they got a lot of talent over there. They got 2 Jalen Williams. They got, of course, SGA, Josh Giddey, Chet Holmgren, Lou Dort. I mean, they got so many names, and their coach over there does a good job of mixing and matching the roster. So I'm going to go with the Thunder to beat the Kings in 7. So the 4 or 5 series, we got the Clippers and Mavericks. Who do you have?
I'm sorry. What was that question? What was the question?
We got the 4 or 5 Clippers and Mavericks. Who do you have winning the series?
As much as I would like to sit up and say I have the Magic win the series, they keep on talking about how that's going to be one of the better games. And of course, when you look at Luka Magic, Kyrie Irving, and their young core, but Kawhi Leonard, PG. We don't know if we're gonna get which playoff George we're gonna get. So just as like the Laker fan in me wants it to be the Mavericks, but in all actuality, you still have James Harden, you still got a Russell Westbrook that can turn things around in a pinch. So I think we probably see another 4-2 for the Clippers in this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Clippers too. They just have too many offensive skill sets going on for the players you just mentioned, and when they're on all cylinders, it's really hard to stop them because once everybody gets their rhythm and finds their game and finds their shot, they could be really unstoppable, and it really is hard to guard once they get on fire. And so again, you got once again Russell Westbrook, coming off and doing his thing off the bench. It's still a strong team. Hopefully, we hope and pray to the basketball gods that we get the playoff PG, situation, for him to come in and do his thing. And so, you want that PG-13 rating. You want him to go in there and be lights out and not to kind of like fade away during games that sometimes he's been known to do. So if he shows up and shows out, meaning Pete, and really all of them, when you think about it, if they all show up and show out, then it's going to be one. So I will go with the Clippers as well.
I'm going to go with the Clippers to win in 7. I think, of course, Luka is the best player in the series overall, but him and Kyrie Irving, to me, are not a good fit. I like them separately, but not as teammates. They really kind of like offset each other. Like, they don't really play to each other's strength, I think. But they somehow make it work between Luka's talent and the trades they made to get in P.J. Washington and Daniel Gafford. They're a little better down low, so they can push the Clippers. But I say the Clippers in the end winning with too much talent. They got, you said, Kawhi, PG, Russ. They also got Terrence Mann over there too, so they got some very good talent. So I'll go with the Clippers in 7. So the 3-6, the Timberwolves and the Suns.
So this one, I would say if Bradley Beal wasn't there, I would be willing to give this to Minnesota. But I think he's the X factor in this situation. I think because it's probably he can turn up and show this is why they were a favorite, an early favorite in the beginning when it came down to their team and their chemistry with Devin Booker and KD. Once they got there and Bill, he going there, of course, it didn't work out as they wanted due to injuries and things of that nature. They got brought in the coach, got a new owner, started to change the culture or change the how things will work around Phoenix. I think that's going to has thwarted them a little bit. It's going to be a little bit too much to overcome over at the end of it. But I think this can go 7, and I think the Timberwolves can actually pull it off. So I'll go with Timberwolves in 7.
Yeah, this is a tough one. Obviously I have no skin in this game, but if you're asking me, I'm going to go with the Wolves as well. I think that when you look at Anthony Edwards, Ant-Man. I haven't been excited to watch an NBA game in a long time since I saw Ant-Man do his thing. There's a couple of players that really I'm excited to watch, and Anthony Edwards is that guy. He's the marquee. And of course, you got Karl Anthony Towns and everybody else around there as well. But I don't know. You get these feelings sometimes that this could be their time, and you see the buildup that's been going on with the Wolves, and it's all about timing, as we all know. And I really believe this. I love Phoenix. I got family in Phoenix. I got number love for Phoenix. But when it comes to a situation between the Suns and the Timberwolves, I'm leaning towards the Timberwolves. Like these guys say, they'll probably go all the way to 7. I can see that.
It's funny. I got a feeling too, and it's the other way. I got the Suns at 5. It's like the Suns beat Minnesota 3-0 during the regular season, and in the playoffs, you already know what to do when you play Rudy Gobert. Force him out away from the paint and force him towards the perimeter, and then from there, Anthony Edwards. Will he have enough help every game? Will Cat show up every game? Will Nas Reed? Will Mike Conley do what they're supposed to do every game? I know this. I know that Bill, Durant, and Booker will score. And I know that they'll get enough help that they need to put Minnesota away. Minnesota win a game, but I see Phoenix having really no problem with them at all.
So you said 2 names in which I think they're going to be the key ones in this matchup: Naz Reid and Mike Conley. I think they're going to be the key players, and is going to really make a difference. So it's going to be a dogfight. Like you say, Anthony Edwards is definitely pay mission a player to where he's going to come in and show up and show out. I think he's going to put up on show. He's going to show that he's deserving of that Team USA spot that he's got and why he got that spot. And it's going to be a different thing. I think you're going to see a different Karl Anthony Towns that has a little time to rest. So it's probably going to be a punish. They're probably going to punish them a little bit. But I really think Minnesota is going to be able to pull this one out.
Yeah, we'll see. And here comes the big one. The Nuggets and Lakers. You know what? I'll start and I'll get to the point. I'm going to go with the Nuggets at 5. I'll give the Lakers a game, but the Nuggets just had their number. The Lakers would have just better served losing last night to somehow get to the Thunder. The Lakers could beat every team in the West except for the champs. That's the one team they can't beat. And then who they play the first round, the champs. That's who's going to send them home at 5, unfortunately. The Joker just does too many things. Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon. What the Nuggets do, the Lakers just can't match up for every reason. They can't every team in the West, but not the champs. Nuggets are 5.
So Lakers in 7. So this is why I say this, right?
Ooh.
This is why I say this. Yes, LA is 0-8 against the Denver Nuggets over the course of the last 2 seasons, including the sweep out of the Western Conference Finals last year. Now they have the collision course, crash courses where they pulling up. I think the Lakers are going to come ready to play. I think we can play with it and say like Michael Porter Jr. is going to have his mind on the simple fact that now he got to sit up and support his brother because he's no longer having a job until Ice Cube comes calling asking him to play in the Big 3. He's out of work. So he's saying all these things are going to come into play in state when it comes down to it. Of course, when you look at it, some of the players that are on the Lakers rosters now that are able to play wasn't available to play against the Denver Nuggets throughout the course of this year. Those 3 games in which they lost. Gabe Vincent is back. So you're gonna have it's going to be a different outlook. Hopefully, we don't see the same thing that we seen last year with AD getting cooked by Jokic. But Jokic is going to do his thing. We know Jokic is going to play. We know Jamal Murray is going to play. Let them play. Let them get off. Just be able to stop the other players. And if we do that, we'll be successful. And let's not forget we got one of the greatest players in this of this era that continues to command the Lakers and a few factors there. So I think we can pull it off. Lakers in 7.
Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., and that Joker guy. Let's not leave him out. Denver is a sexy team. No, they're not. They never will be until they change, of course, that culture, and already have been in the eyes of their fan base. I've seen the Joker do some basic stuff that I probably have not seen since probably Larry Bird. Can't jump, but the fundamental skill is just off the charts. And he's one of those players that, again, makes everybody around him better. They all feel that same energy. And I think that, again, with the Lakers, of course, you mentioned, of course, LeBron James and AD and people like that. AD still concerns me. He's having a great time now. But you know what might happen. I'm not wishing it upon him. First name Mr., last name Glass. If you're not careful when it comes to Anthony Davis. And I don't want to see that happen, but he's been known to have these injuries, especially during the playoff season. So I don't wish that on him, but it's a possibility it might happen. And so when I look at the two teams in comparison, I like the Nuggets. I really think they're the stronger team. They're the champions. They have something to prove, and they have the Lakers' number. So I think it could be just a sweep. And I might be kind of giving them 5 or 6, but I'll probably go on the sweep and say, hey, look, this is how it's going to go down. And I just like the Clippers from that standpoint, from the Nuggets, of how they're able to, not saying everybody doesn't do team ball, but you look at certain teams and know that it's actually team ball and not somebody going for self at times. And that, of course, is a part of the game, but they really are the embodiment of team ball. I got to go with the Nuggets.
And so do I. I went with 5, to give LeBron the respect of at least him and AD show up in one game at crypto.com and playing out their mind, but the other 4, they're going to get straight dominated. So let's go over East. Of course, I said I hope the Celtics get the Bulls, and I hope they sweep the Bulls, because that's what the Bulls deserve, because James Randolph is all about the money with this team. So hopefully they get Boston. The Boston doesn't give that work forward out.
So I won't say a 4 and out. I think Boston is susceptible to messing up at least one game, to where you might have a situation to where DeMar goes all out and becomes problematic and just has one of those games. But in state is Boston is the number 1 team overall in the playoffs, number 1 top record in the NBA this year. So I expect them to be victorious, probably 4-1 in Boston.
I like the Celtics. I like the organization from this time, and I've been a fan since the days of when Glenn Doc Rivers became the coach and on. I used to hate Boston. I mean, every time Boston came to town, they're on TV, like, these mother hubbards about to come in and do their thing. But since the organization has taken on a new identity over the years, I like what they're doing. I like the coach, Joe Mazzulla. I think is doing a good job. He had learning pains the year before, but I think he got on track now. I do believe that once everybody's in sync on that Boston team, they can give you the business, and they don't play when they come out. It's those misfortune situation where someone has an injury or someone having a bad day or something, that was Jamal Brown or somebody else that's on there, and they're having these moments of almost like growing pains, because they're all in their 20s, like going down to their mid-20s, and they're all growing together. So I really believe that, once again, everything's on all cylinders. Yeah, it'll be the Celtics. I think the Celtics probably do like 5 or 6.
Okay. So if they were playing the Heat without Jimmy Butler, what would you give the Heat then?
If they're playing the Heat without Jimmy Butler, unfortunately, I think that's a 4-0. I just think it's like Jimmy Butler. Now, if it honestly, which is a huge turnaround in my opinion, because if Jimmy Butler was there, I think he's the top seed killer, and I think Miami wins that with Jimmy Butler. He just brings a whole different aspect to the game, which like he powers them, and they start to go on. It's like they're a different team with Jimmy Butler. But without them, I don't think they have a chance. So I think they would probably get swept.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting too. You said before about the whole thing about Miami culture and Miami Heat culture and things of that nature. And like I said before, versus the Bulls, I would like to see the Bulls winning. But I think in that game between the Heat and the Bulls, the Heat would win. But the Heat against the Celtics, I think is a whole different dynamic. And I don't think, hell, yeah, they call him playoff Jimmy for God's sake. When he's doing this thing. So when he's not there, that's a big hole, and it's hard to fill. So versus the Celtics, no, no, the Heat. It's like why even dress up for the game to a degree? Just go on and get to the Celtics. I think the Celtics would go on and just sweep that.
Yeah, the biggest reason I'm glad that John Paxson and Garth Foreman were fired. The day they traded Jimmy Butler, I would say depressed, but I was like, this organization has gone downhill, and they have gone ever since the day they traded him. All right, the 4 or 5 series, the Cavaliers and the Magic. Who do you have?
I think this is going to be one of the better series in the playoffs. Of course, I'm going with the young Bucks and the Magic only because I don't think they're going to. The Cavaliers is going to be a healthy team throughout the whole playoffs. I think they're going to lose a key player at some point to some type of injury that's going to hurt the course of that. In which I don't think Donovan Mitchell is going to be able to overcome, especially particularly if he's the one. But I think right now for this first round with a 4-5 matchup, that the young Orlando Magic have turned their culture around and they're playing. And I think they'll have enough to at least pull it off to get a 4-2 victory.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to go with the Magic. When I look at the Cavaliers, there's something missing. I can't put my finger on it, but it's something or someone that's missing from that players organization. I can't put my finger on it. It's like they're one or maybe 2 players away to really do some damage. Now, of course, that's going to be the off season, but as of right now, as we speak in real time, there's something missing, but I just can't put my finger on it. And of course, that's for the Cavaliers to decide. But the Young Bucks with the Magic, oh yeah, Pablo Panchel. I mean, it has been lights out. And once again, when you get these rookies who know the role that they have going into an organization and know they have to do. And once again, it's not easy for some rooks, but if you're able to go in there and just really do the job and maintain, those young guys they have been maintaining probably better than most teams in general. So I would go with the Magic.
Yeah, I like the Magic too, but the main problem is they don't score the ball. So to me, I think if Donovan Mitchell has a few good games, and the Cavaliers can, I say, overwhelm the Magic, but they can, just put up the points. The Magic, can't compete with them. So I feel the Magic can slow them down, but I really don't see them really shutting down the Cavs. So I'm gonna go with the Cavs at 7 to win this series. That's why the rumor is the Cavaliers, the Magic are trying to get Klay Thompson because they need somebody to score, somebody to shoot the ball. Currently, they don't have that. Now they got a lot of good players, but nobody can really score the ball at will. So that's why they try to go get Klay Thompson. So I'm gonna go with the Cavs to win in 7. This is the series right here. I'll be watching the most. The Bucks and the Pacers. I think this is funny to me because who made the call to bring in Doc Rivers to save the season? That's what I'm wondering. And I think once, to me, Indiana puts out Milwaukee at 6, they're gonna be wondering like, who the hell called Doc and why they thought he would save the season. I'm going with the Pacers in 6.
So I think I might agree with you on this one, of course, only because Giannis is out. I mean, we probably have a different story if Giannis was in. Especially, I think the Giannis is one of those players that is similar to that, like Jimmy Buckets. That's what we were just talking about. To where when he's there, the team is different. Like you're going to see Lopez plays differently. Portis is different. Connaughton is different. So it's just a different team with Giannis there. So they go as he goes. The Pacers are going to have their players, and I think they're going to that movement in which they have going on. Halliburton, another Team USA candidate now. After the dismal showing that they had during the World Championship games, and he's on point. So I think without Giannis, they're going to be able to pull that off. So I give them 4 and 6 as well.
Yeah, Tyler Halliburton is his time. His time. He's that dude. He's one of
Tyrese
those.
Halliburton.
I'm sorry, Tyrese. What did I say? Tyler? Okay, Tyrese. My bad. He is one of those players who literally can change the game, and he has. I'm glad that the NBA All-Star game was in his home state, their hometown, Indianapolis, so they could showcase and see what he could do. You never heard of Halliburton. You probably have. You watched that. And again, it's about trajectory shifts of these teams. The Pacers really can do it. And it's not just one of those teams you blow up all the Pacers, get ready to play. I ain't going to watch them. No, you watch them. And again, going back to Halliburton, which I think is who has been lights out, and again, another face of the league, future face of the team. I would probably say generational talent as well. You throw them in there. Because when you look at the shifts of how these teams that go down or go up or go sideways, whatever, the Pacers has always been that team where if they get everything in motion, they're going to shoot up. And I think they're on the way in a shoot up trajectory. So I would give the Pacers probably about 6 there.
Yeah, I think we all in agreement. I think, the Pacers, when they made that trade for Pascal Siakam, I think they really shored up. They now they got a number 2 option, and now they're better defensively because they were, scoring the ball in the wheel but couldn't really defend. Now Pascal, they can defend a little bit, so they got like more balance. So with Doc Rivers, if the Bucks don't get the job done again, would you fire him or would you just stick with him?
I think from a safe place standpoint, they have to stick with him. At least give him 1 year, full year with him at the helm, where he can sit up and decide on or help or assist with the personnel moves. He has to be there, or else it's like, why did you bring him here just for 1 year? At this point, you could have kept Adrian and let him continue to coach the team. So they wanted him. Obviously, they got him. And so now with him there, I believe we have to give him at least a full year with him in the war room, drafting, pulling in players, free agency, all that. You have to give him at least 1 year to right the ship.
Yeah, I agree, because in that situation, which I still understand why I got rid of Adrian Griffin, I didn't understand that at all, but maybe it wasn't meant for me to understand. So you bring in Doc Rivers, and sometimes you have to learn to just say no. I mean, he could have said no, but he said yes as going back to the NBA coach. I mean, he got a soft, cushy job as an analyst on the NBA's, program right there on ESPN. Hell, got his son to have a gig there as well. So it's not like he wasn't doing anything, but I think that coaching itch or that ability to say, you know what, let me go back because I didn't finish what I was supposed to do the last time. And so that type of thing. But no, he could have said no, but he said yes. So you're right. He has to take this team, which really he inherited this team, but during the offseason, he can establish his own team and then go from there. Now, if he establishes his own team, which he will, and then get a new set of players, which he will, and then they play, and they try out to be crap, and at the end of the season, then you get rid of them. Then you part company. Because now, you already made the hubbub about and the brouhaha about switching him midseason between him and Griffin. He had a big blowback about that. Now it's died down a little bit. Off-season, complete change around. It's your team, Doc Rivers. Let's see what happens. And you go in there and you suck win and you do worse than before. No, then you got to get out of there.
Okay. Last thing on the Bucks. There's a rumor that Damian Lillard is unhappy in Milwaukee. If that's the case, do you let go of Dame and start over, or do you try to convince him to stay?
So my rule the game, especially when as a gamer playing games and stuff like that, and when you're playing these seasons simulations, if a player, regardless of who the player is, pops up and says they want out or they don't want to resign with me, I find a way to move them. Now, of course, that's in the game. So when we take in real consideration in real life, if a player is unhappy, of course you find the root of it. Why are they unhappy? Of course, we know if it's because of Giannis, then he's not going to win in that. But I think it depends on what he is. So it's like, what is the culture? In which I don't know what the culture is in Milwaukee at this point. They have to they got rid of Adrian Griffin. So the culture is, I don't know. And They were a number 2 team at the time when they got rid of him. Like, why did you do these things? Why are you like this? So it's like at this point, you don't know what it is possibly. So if Dame wants out, I can't say I wouldn't be able to say like, okay, the culture is they stand on business. Dame wants out, we're gonna sit up and go ahead and move him. Or Dame wants out. Why is it that Dame wants out? At this point, has Dame the moving of Dame in lay of Drew Holiday? What you know what I'm saying? Initially on paper, it looked like, oh, this is a great idea. But now that you look at it, maybe the trade of the offense for what Drew Holiday's defense is wasn't the best move, because Drew went from being a champion, a runner-up, or you know what I'm saying, being a key defensive card, to going to Boston, number 1 the record overall, and the USA team select. And Dame is just taps watches and gets hollered at a Glorilla. So it's like, I don't know, you know what I'm saying, at this point, it's going to be time, it's going to be terrible. But if it was me, I probably would be out. I probably find a way to move him and see if we can get something for him.
I would try and convince him to stay. I mean, look how he was treated in Portland, which was no way to treat him at all. I mean, if he wanted to go to the Miami Heat, as much as he gained for Portland and gave them pretty much all his heart and soul, I would have tried to move heaven and earth to get him to the team that he wanted to get to. So going to the Bucks, maybe was the dream team he wanted to go to. He didn't really want to go to the Bucks. And so you put on the stiff upper lip, you play it off and everything else, personal life, and you read about him and his estranged wife and ex-wife and stuff like that. So all that's going on as well. So all that's in your head, and it's kind of hard to separate, because black and white becomes gray matter, and it's kind of hard to really focus on one thing and the other. We have all this drama going on in your life. So he probably much wants out because of all the things in above, and of course stuff we're not privy to. But I want to keep him because I think that he is a good 1-2 punch for him and Giannis. So Giannis can do it all by himself, and he's done that. But he also had great role players. Go back to Drew Holiday and those guys who were able to facilitate the process and make the machine run. I would try to convince him to stay. I really would.
Yeah, I agree. I would also convince him to stay. And Chris, like you said, it is a big difference between Milwaukee and Miami. I've been to Milwaukee before. They shut down the whole city at 9 p.m. You can't find those at 9 p.m. open out there. I promise you. But you know, Miami, you know, is South Beach, real nice. So I see the point. So this series here, I think, would be the best series. 76ers and Knicks. Who do you have?
Knicks in 5, and I thought I would never say this, but I don't think. Well, you know what? Let me double that back. Knicks in 6, because it's still kind of hard. Like Joel, with Joel there, is the team. The Knicks, I mean the 76ers are a bit of a better team, but I don't think Joel is going to be able to do it all alone. Although you have Kyle Lowry, got Maxey that is there. You got Hill that is there, but we just looked at them struggle with the Miami Heat without Jimmy Buckets. So I don't think they're gonna once that the Villanova 3 get to going and their motley crew. I think it's going to be a whole different story, and the Knicks is a lot better without Julius Randle, which is something being said. So I think at least for this series, I think the Knicks are going to scrub up the 76ers. And the next time we see Joel Embiid is playing in July in the team for Team USA.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Knicks as well. I think, obviously, you know, when you're a Knicks fan, over the years, been suffering, long suffering, year after year after year. As we know, New York is the mecca of basketball, Madison Square Garden in particular, and you always want to put on a good product on the floor. And I think with, again, when you see them just going hard every night, it does something to you. I mean, I'm very impressed with what the Knicks has been doing, because, you know, a lot of teams blow off the Knicks. Okay, we'll play the Knicks. I mean, so what? At one point, if you're a fan or even a casual fan, but there's no denying what they're doing now, and so it's good coaching. The organization is still kind of funny for me, but right now they're doing pretty good if they do the right thing and keep everything going. So, yeah, I would probably go the Knicks, and I'll probably go the sweep with the Knicks at this point.
Man, y'all almost made me change my mind. I'm going to go with the 76ers at 7. I believe that, Julius Randle, at the end of the day, he's still the Knicks' second best player, and losing him is a big loss for the Knicks. Jalen Brunson can't do it all by himself. I wish I was going to say he doesn't, but he carries, to me, too big of a load without Randle. And try to do that every night is a bit much. Now, with the 76ers, and being the Max is going to show up, I guess the key is, will Tobias Harris do what he's supposed to do? And I think Tobias will do enough games to help out Embiid and Maxey to put the 76ers over the top and put out the Knicks at 7. Yeah, so that is it right there. So, do you all want to predict the whole playoffs, or do you all just want to wait to predict the later rounds?
I'll wait. It's too unpredictable at this point for me.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so we can wait on that. Since I have you two, I don't know when the next time I can get you all. I know you two are two very busy men. What do you see forecast for next Thursday's NFL draft?
Caleb Williams goes first to Chicago.
What the? I was talking about like a surprise or something that
Actually, you know what I think would be a surprise? Jaden Daniels getting drafted before Caleb Williams. Now, I'm not saying that Chicago's going to draft him, but that would be surprising to me. That would be shake up the world if Jaden went first, some way, some form of fashion.
If we're talking about shakeups, I like to see Bo Nix get higher in the draft. I think Bo Nix is the guy. I mean, his mechanics are on point. The way he cut up a defense, I'm telling you, he's like I said. These people are ready now. But I would like to see Bo Nix get higher in the draft. That would be a nice surprise for me.
Okay. Anthony Price says Drake May goes to the Giants. The Giants are paying Daniel Jones a ton of money. The Giants are not taking a quarterback as long as Daniel Jones on the roster. So, Anthony, that's not happening. You got Daniel Jones over there, so you got to deal with it. Bo Nix to Denver. Possibly. I mean, Sean Payton wanted Russell Wilson out so bad, even though Russell played all that bad. So, maybe you do want the next white hoop over there.
I think J.J. McCarthy might end up going to Denver. I haven't seen the tip of the cap or tip of his hand in what Sean Payton and company are willing to bring in, but I think that'll be J.J. McCarthy. Bo Nix might become one of those players. He might become potentially like the next Brock Purdy, to where no one's not saying he's going to be Mr. Irrelevant, but he might be one of those quarterbacks that no one's really looking at in the draft, in which he gets drafted and once getting the opportunity, it's like, oh snap, we passed on this guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? When you start looking at the Penix, Michael Penix and juniors and the Drake Mays, and I just think this particular draft class is rich with quarterbacks as well as wide receivers, as opposed to other years in which look at the draft, the draft in which Justin Fields was taken.
2021.
Yeah, 2021 draft. None of those quarterbacks are. There's only one that is still in place, and he's the third string at this point potentially. So it's like
no. Trevor Lawrence is still the king over there.
Oh yeah, you're correct. Yeah, you're correct, because he was the number one pick. So it like, you know what I'm saying. So Trevor Lawrence, true, but then who's backing up Trevor Lawrence now? He got problems over his
Mac
shoulder.
Jones, ironically, another 2021 pick. So yeah,
that, you know what I'm saying, pick. So it's like, even though Mac Jones didn't pan out, but now he got someone looking over his shoulder, and we never know. Mac Jones might be effective in a different offense, and that might power him to where if Trevor Lawrence trips up, we have a whole Colin Kaepernick, Alex Smith situation, to where Lawrence don't get back in the fray, and now he got to be moved. Or Brady Bledsoe situation.
Okay. All right. One last question. Yeah, I'm gonna let y'all two go. Y'all really don't think Jake Paul can hang with Mike Tyson, do y'all? July 20th.
I'm here with it, whether it's gimmick or if it's going to be real fisticuffs, I guess you could say. So if it's going to be real, then no, Jake Paul is not going to be able to hang with Mike. Although, sometimes when you're when you used to you was him when you was himmy and you used to use that dude, and you tend to, like we said, the mind tends to do things that the body can no longer keep up with. And although we see how Mike gets down in his training videos and all that type of stuff, I hope he doesn't fall too far and drink too much of the Kool-Aid to where he just believes that he's going to decimate a younger fighter, up and coming fighter, and then get caught up and get slipped. And now he he get hit with something in which he wasn't expecting, and now you have a problem. But for the sake of who Mike is, nah, Jake Paul's not going to be able to hang with him. Or who Mike was. I'm sorry, who Mike was.
Yeah, I said earlier in the conversation about old man strength, and that is the embodiment of Mike Tyson. So that's a smoke you don't want. Jake Paul or anybody else gets in this way, it's going to be one. And that old man strength comes from like your ancestors are feeling it. That's how hard these people hit. And so when you look at that type of, again, we've seen the videos with Mike doing this thing and everything else. I mean, he can still go. We read that boxing match he had with Roy Jones Jr. He almost destroyed Roy at one point. I mean, good night. I mean, it got to a point where I felt more sorry for Roy. It's like, get him out of there so he can still be a grandfather, for God's sake. So he was, really giving him the business. So if you continue that type of strength that Mike Tyson has now, oh yeah, it's lights out, man. It's lights out. Just go in there, lay down, take the hit. If you want to get hit, if you're going to get hit to the point, where you're to rattle the bones inside your body, your skeletal and everything else, then go right ahead. But it don't look good, man.
Yeah, you're right. So Mr. Price says, if Jake Paul wins, I burning everything of Mike Tyson in my house. So you gotta worry about that, Anthony. I think Mike gonna give him a beating. In that fight with Roy Jones Jr., he really could hit hit Roy in the face. But if Jake Paul allows face shots, Jake is out for the count.
Oh, if he catches with a good body shot, it's a wrap. So it's like he probably would prefer the face shot. It's like, at this point, like you catch it with a man. You see what kidney punches do to people? Like, man, come on, and get it. Oh my goodness.
Yes, man.
Don't want that.
You're right. I want to thank you two gentlemen for coming on. I know you both are very busy. I truly appreciate it. Let me start with you, Chris. How can people reach you on social media?
Well, thank you for an invitation to be on the show. I had a good time. Glad to meet you, Trey. It's good to be on with brothers, talking some good stuff. Go to Facebook.com and type in Chris Base, CHRIS. That's B as in broadcasting, ASE. Now, let me give you a public service announcement. There's like 85,000 Chris Bases out there. I'm the original. Don't fall for the okie doke. If you see me right now with this microphone, which is my profile page, you click that, become friends, and know about all my shows that I do. Catch my show Baseline every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central. You catch me on Facebook Live, go to my YouTube channel, and type in the Chris Base channel on one word, and you take it from there.
Thank you very much, Trey. Yes, what's going on? So, of course, like I said, Trevion Amir, Trey the Commish, Trey. Those, of course, catch me on First Formation. Me, my man Cornelius, and sometimes my brother Sean Bishop Davis. First Formation Mondays and Fridays, 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock Central Standard Time. And this upcoming newly, we'll be doing a show on the Northeast Streaming Sports Network, a show every Sunday 3 to 4, in which we'll be doing a show called On the Carpet. But basically, you can always hit me up on any of the Facebook, Instagram, or catch me on LinkedIn or Twitch, and we can chop it up. Feel free to hit me up. Hey, maybe come on the show, talk about it. It's a vibe.
All right. Y'all can find me on Facebook, Gerald and Brits, on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. My 2 cents on it. The name of the show for Trading Commish for Chris Bass. I am Gerald, aka My 2 cents on it, and that was our 2 cents on it on sports. Have a very good night, you all. Thank you again, Joe.
Thank you.